So before I came to Clemson University, I worked as a journalist and technical writer in the real world. And of course, I had a client, the newspaper I worked for, the audiences of publications, what they wanted as a reader. And that's who you had to worry about satisfying. What does the audience want? So I began teaching about 20 years ago, and I thought, what's the way to simulate that kind of experience, those skills in a college setting? Because I thought back to my own college days and realized you just barely kind of get your toe in the water as far as the work world. And it's only when you're on the job you start really learning what you need to do, and you get the practice at it. So I started off where I was at in California, and I would give students an assignment where here's the hypothetical client you're going to be doing this report for, say engineering majors I was working with. And I found still that students would look at it and think, okay, but we're really writing this for the professor to get a grade. And what do we need to do to please him and get an A? And I saw that Clemson University had an opening, and they had this amazing program called the client-based program, where you actually work with real-world clients. And that was one of the main reasons I wanted to come to work here. And I realized with a real-world client, students would be a lot more distracted from, I'm just doing this for a grade, to, wow, I got this real-world client who shows up here at the classroom and says, these are our needs, this is what we want. And they're at least more focused on doing real audience analysis and meeting the needs of an actual client. So scientific research really backs up what happens in a client-based class too. There's been numerous studies showing that students who do the most internships, project classes, just like the client-based program, those students are the ones who usually launch right into their preferred profession right out of college. Employers are always looking at college students like, well, they don't have any real-world experience yet. With a client-based program, you get that experience. And just about every kind of skill needed for most jobs in the workforce, you get the practice in a client-based class. I mentioned the audience analysis. You got a real client. You got to learn that client's needs. Who are they? Who's their audience if the document you're producing or the video you're producing is reaching an audience that they're trying to reach? And then you have to practice a lot of verbal, oral skills like interviewing, a lot of primary research, which you don't get in a lot of college classes. So you're actually having to interview the client, interview other experts to put together your report, your documents. So you got interviewing skills, you do online research for what is primary sources online. And then of course, there's the good old writing skills. And since it's going to a client, the writing's got to be, achieve a high level, a high level of expectations for what the client wants. So you got to practice a lot of editing skills, writing and rewriting, because that's how it's done in the real world. Most writers in the real world, or anybody in a job doing writing, you revise. And in a client-based class, you often have to do that kind of revision.